The following is a presentation of the ForceCenter podcast feed.
From the center of the galaxy. Which one? Who knows? There are many galaxies. Where are we? We don't know. But from the center of some galaxy, this is the ForceCenter podcast feed, currently presenting OtherCenter, and this is our episode, Cues of the Other. I'm Joseph Scrimshaw.
And I'm Ken Napzok.
And I'm Jennifer Landa.
And we are very happy to be here taking questions. We got a great spread of questions today. We've got one kind of a little bit heavier, complex, about careers, about choices kind of question. And then we have two zippy, fun, weird little questions. And we really appreciate that you all ask us lots of different kinds of questions. Before we get to see if we have some A's to your Q's, we want to let you know that today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and a 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/ForceCenter. Over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, your Android, your Kindle, or your MP3 player. I just thought we should start delivering these more dramatically to shake it up. Anyway, Ken, you've got a recommendation.
Yeah, it's kind of, remember we used to recommend the same Space Galaxy book for a month straight? We're doing that now because this book seems to be real popular with the ForceCenter, OtherCenter listeners, and I'm going to check it out myself. It is A History of the World in 6 Glasses by Tom Standage, and it is very popular. I'm going to find out why. I picked it at random, but here we are, recommending it still. And you can download your free audiobook today by going to audibletrial.com/ForceCenter. Again, that's audibletrial.com/ForceCenter for your free audiobook. Help yourself and help the show.
That is a great slogan. So you know what, Ken, I'm going to have you keep going. We have a current ask. Do you want to handle our ask?
Hey, it would really help, especially during this OtherCenter era, which we understand we're pre-recording. The world in terms of SAG could have changed by the time this episode is released. We hope so. Crossing our fingers that that's the truth and we all can laugh at this. But in the OtherCenter era in particular, it would really help if you would consider going to Apple Podcasts. You can go to Spotify, anywhere where you're listening to podcasts, and they have a rating. Give us a rating, give us a review, but it really helps on Apple Podcasts to keep us vibrant and buoyant in these uncertain podcast times. So consider doing that. Leave a good review. And, I'll just say this. If you don't currently like the product, you don't need to go review it. You don't.
Free yourself. You can pause and come back. Don't. I hope there's nobody just hate listening to the OtherCenter episodes. I understand if people are like, I'm here for Star Wars. It was nice, but I got to take a break. I understand, but I really hope there's nobody like, I hate this.
Yep. So,
but I'm listening all the way through to the end.
Yep. Yeah. There you go. We'd love to have you consider doing that. That is our ask.
A very good ask. Vibrant and buoyant. If anybody wants to just steal Ken's words and use that as a review, that'd be great.
Vibrant's one of my favorite words. I use vibrant a lot. I just one of those things. I just love it. Right? It's just vibrant. It sounds like what it means. It's great. I love it.
Yeah, it's a good word. Jennifer, do you have any favorite words?
Oh, ecstatic.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, I like ecstatic. There was another word I just came across. I was like, I like that word. I'm going to incorporate that word more.
Okay. Yeah, I can't wait to hear.
I can't think of what it was.
Yeah. I'm all about cathartic and luminous. Anyway, that's not one of our questions. Oh, yeah,
both of those. Yes.
They're good. They're just real handy. Cathartic in particular. I can't describe anything without wanting it to be cathartic. Let's see if the questions are cathartic today. This first comes to us from the food in my beard. The food in my beard. I'm just going to say that whole thing like it is Dan's actual name. Dan, correct, Ken?
Dan Whalen. He's got the blog and his brand, and he's written a ton of great cookbooks. The food in my beard. Also a ForceCenter guest way back in the day. It's been a while now. We got to get Dan back on when the times allow. But yeah, Dan indeed.
Yeah, and really appreciated, particularly sometimes in live streams where we've gone off on food tangents, that we've got some expertise from Dan. So Dan is asking a question about something he is experiencing in his field of expertise, and we shall translate it to whatever ours might be. How do you balance artistic integrity versus, quote, playing the game in your art and work? I think about this a lot and try to have a triangle with making money on one point, doing what I know will be popular on one point, and following my passion on the third? This is a great question. That is a great triangle. And I want to start with this one question, because there's a lot to be answered within this, but I'm very curious, Jennifer and Ken's take. The triangle point of doing what I know will be popular. I think sometimes that's really clear of people like this. If I do this, it'll go well. But one thing that I'm always fascinated by, depending on the field you're in, is sometimes that one can actually be hard to figure out. And I remember at different points in artistic conversations having, or artistic careers, having conversations with friends where you're like, well, why don't you just give in? Why don't you just sell out? And I'll be like, I'm trying. I can't figure out how to sell out. I can't figure out that triangle, that popular point. So, Jennifer, how do you feel about that? Do you feel like in all of your various creative adventures, do you feel like you always know what would be popular if you were willing to do it more? Or is it sometimes a mystery?
I thought that I knew what that was. I don't feel like I do anymore. I think, oh, this one's going to hit with people. People are going to get it, or they're going to relate to it, and then it doesn't. So I the only thing I know for me personally, if I were to sell out, play the game, would be to just sexify it up. If I wore really sexy outfits and talked about Star Wars, I probably would get some views. Maybe not so much now because I'm older, but when I was younger, that would have been my way of selling out for me personally. Just because it's not like some people are naturally, that's like their personality, and when they do it, that's authentic to them. And I think that's incredible. But for me, it wouldn't be authentic to me. So that's why I feel like it would be selling out. But there are people who are able to do that, and it's great. But I can't, because I'm just a big dork. So and also people expect that of me more too, because I'm like Latina. I mean, really, if I really want to sell out, go down the spicy tamale type thing that people were trying to like put that label, like people try to put on me, especially when I was an actor, the Salma Hayek, the Jennifer Lopez, you're from the streets, the gangbanger's girlfriend, you talk tough, like that kind of thing would have been me selling out. So
that makes a lot of sense. Yes. It would be fascinating to see you do a parody of that. Of here's normal Furby coverage, here's spicy tamale Furby coverage.
I don't even know if I could do it. But that's when I question my acting abilities. I'm like, I don't even know, because I tried. I did have some roles, and
That's so fun.
No, I think it is a tribute to you that what is powerful about the work that you do is it is authentic. And even with somebody who has the skills to be an actor, it's clear that you're just like, that's not a role I want to take on. Yeah. Powerful.
Yeah.
Amazing.
But J-Lo can do it. J-Lo, that is her authentic self, being the sexy, like, celebrity A-lister. Like, she just is that. And that's who she is. I love it.
Yeah.
I celebrate that.
So how about you, Ken? Are you going to start doing some low cut videos to be popular?
Yep. I've got, I'm wearing some very tight jeans in the next video I'm doing. Yeah. And I
not on camera. But,
I really respect your clarity of words there, Jed, of just, there's others that it works. That's who they are. That's their brand. That's their comfort level. That's not yours. That's what that is about. I think it's a well struck balance there. Yeah. This is Dan, this is a great question, because we're living this. We're in this. And part of my depression is trying to figure out this triangle. This is a great idea. I got to figure out my triangle here. And artistic integrity versus playing a game. It's tough. And I'll start big where I definitely know I've mentioned this because it's big in my life. I'm like a huge Conan O'Brien fan. I just love it. I highly recommend you all check out his podcast. It's absolutely amazing. I think he's a hero and someone who takes care of those around him. And there's all these great things to say. I really, really studied that book and that era of him on The Tonight Show and the disaster that was that whole kind of drama. And there's so much finger pointing that should be at the network, and so much should be on Jay and his inability to maybe give it up and all those kind of things. There's a part of what happened that was the reality of Conan stayed true to who he was, and it wasn't working in terms of network ratings and money and that advertisers and that kind of thing. And there was at one point an argument that could have been made, and I'm trying to thread a needle here too, of if you just played the game a little bit, the question of Jay coming back wouldn't have been a problem because you would have been killing it. But there was a little bit of artistic stubbornness that I think emerged. And I took a big lesson from that because he's also, his speech at the end, there's so many, he's an inspirational person. And I still watch his podcast to this day when I can in the morning. I want to be clear about that. But I carry that lesson with me because I don't know sometimes. I sometimes want to adapt a little bit to what's more popular, but then it doesn't feel right to me, you know. There's certain skill sets that I don't have that other people do have, and some of it is that influencer culture, just casually, you know, putting up a phone in your car and filming a video. I can't help but kind of perform and edit it up, and then therefore it's not as personal as some other folks. I am a little bit more of an old school broadcaster, and that's who I am, and so I have to find the balance and play the game. And then there's the playing the game of the algorithms. Is your thumbnail this? Is your thumbnail, you know, and that changes. I was in the green room hearing all the tips on how to post your clips of stand-up clips online. And then the conversation ended with, well, then it changes every 3 months anyway. So all that stuff's a problem. But yeah, I'm struggling with it, and we're going to keep discussing this more. But that's my big opening statement, Joseph, is I don't know. I'm trying to form that triangle so hard.
Yeah. And do you have any time in your creative life where you feel like you knew what the thing was, like Jennifer's story of this is what I could have done, but you didn't want to do it?
Yes, yeah, it emerged post Collider. Either the first time I was laid off in 2018 when I did try to do some stuff, and did like me going into Twitch streaming, and now I stream video games on YouTube, was I guess I can do this thing. And I still enjoy it, right? I don't do it as much. I moved off of Twitch just to move everything to my YouTube channel. But when I hang out and play a video game, and sometimes I do it with friends online, sometimes with myself in the chat, it is fun. I really enjoy it. And so that became right. But if I could have started KenNapzok.com started the website, but really relaunched my YouTube channel because I'd had one since like 2007, but done Ken Napzok, the movie news guy, and I could have done reactions. I could have done trailer breakdowns. I could have all those things. So I saw other people doing it. I hate that stuff. And there's people just like you're saying, Jen. There's people I know personally who do it and do it well. I don't think trailer reactions or movie reactions lead to insightful commentary, but that's maybe my take, and take that with a grain of salt. I think it dumbs down the conversations around these movies, but I know people buying houses off of it. And I that was a point where I was like, me and my buddy Mark Riley would always talk about this of he tried it. He tried to do reactions, and he goes, I don't like, it's not me. It's not me. And you know, you have to find that it's a hard line to find. But that was a moment where I remember kind of putting my foot down and said, I want out of that kind of it, that kind of side of the stuff.
Yeah. I think there's some really great distinctions being made between something you just can't do because it is inauthentic, and on the surface, it's what you should do, but it probably won't work because everybody will be able to sense that you hate it. Right. So there's that. And then there's that stretching a little bit to, this isn't ideal for me, but it would be better. Like, for many years here on ForceCenter, we did the Databank Brawl episodes, which I really like and am really proud of. But I kind of got to a point where we stopped doing them when the pandemic began because I thought it was going to be really hard to do not in person.
Right.
And I still believe that. But I also, a couple people have had comments lately about how much they like them, which I really, really appreciate. But I also just feel like we did it a lot, and I feel like we kind of did that. But it isn't inauthentic. It's not selling my soul. But if somebody was like, ForceCenter is going to take off entirely if you do 3 Databank Brawls a week, like that's not, you know, that's not doing something inauthentic, but it's not quite where my heart is right now. In there, I think can be kind of hard about it. Is there those different levels from that's just not going to work because it's not authentic too. That's not really where my passion is right now. Which I think Food in My Beard is so smart to have like one of those be passion. What you truly want to do is one of those triangle points in figuring out, the triangle is so powerful and so great, but sometimes it can be hard to be like, which one does it go on? I when I was doing the Minnesota Fringe Festival for many years, usually doing like one act plays. Sometimes it'd be a one person show. Sometimes it'd be a 4 or 5 person cast. But I would write them and I would produce them and act in them, and was very lucky to be successful. And it was a good way to make a chunk of good cash when it comes to theater, because I built up an audience specifically there. And sometimes people, other people in the community would frankly be jerks about it. And comedies were more popular because it's the summer and people want to see something fun. And sometimes I'd get bagged about that, of people saying, there are no ideas here because it's comedy. And like, there were. Then you got a comedy bias. But other times people would do the most kind of obscure, esoteric, personal passion projects and then be really upset that people weren't there. And I would be like, I really understand, but here's what I do. At the Fringe, I have never put on a show that I didn't absolutely believe in. But often I'd have 3 ideas, and I'd go, out of these 3 ideas that I'm lucky to love, which am I going to do? Because that one, not many people are going to show up to. And I often had a hard time having this conversation. So because people would go like, oh, you sold out. I'm like, no. Out of my 3 options that I loved equally, I picked the one that would fulfill the goal of the show and the business. I will love the show and it will go well for the business. And I think that's what I hear when you talk about Conan O'Brien, of like, I don't know this story, so you'll have to tell me. I assume nobody was asking him to just be Jay Leno, right? And do the headlines, right?
Correct.
But people were asking him to pick the version of Conan that's still Conan, that is maybe a little bit friendlier to these specific dumb needs.
Yeah, 100%. And it was talked about a lot, right? It was a little bit of before the job and on the job, and hey, the numbers are showing this ain't working. And I think that's what you're talking about too. And sometimes I have the thing where I look at my numbers and I go, well, this ain't working. What is it about me? I want to start there before I start blaming. It's easy to blame a lot of other, the one thing that's not a blame. I think the truth is just getting the word out there and the broken social media these days. But
that's huge. I mean, all of this is for me, so much of this is broken social media now of what's going on. Jennifer, I want to bring you back into the conversation. Have you felt like you've had points where you feel like I know what I like, and within that collection of things I like, I'm going to try to pick the one that I think will hit the hardest?
I think the challenge is, how stubborn do you want to be? Which you have to kind of read the room of what is going on, how are people consuming things, in any type of art form specifically. I just came across this video today of this of fashion designer. He died, unfortunately, Virgil Abloh, and he was talking about he showed this crushed paint can, and he was like, depending on where this paint can is how you're going to view its value. If I put this crushed paint can in an art gallery on a pedestal in a big white room, you're going to suddenly revere the paint can as being an object of art, right? Something special. If you see it in a garage, shoved to the side, you're going to think it's trash. And that really made me think about how we are presenting our product ourselves, right? Your artwork, and how and I think a lot of times, especially for video creators, we tried so hard. We spent all these hours, and Ken, I have the same thing as you. I come from this background of like wanting to perform, right? And like being professional on camera. And I want to come across as like knowing my stuff and doing my research. But on TikTok, people are literally just talking in their cars about whatever for 5 minutes, and they have 100,000 views. And that requires a level of just like I don't know, of something to where I'm not comfortable with yet, but I'm reading the room and I'm seeing that I'm not going to be able to share what I want to share if I don't adapt to how people are consuming content. And it's really hard when you're an artist and you have a vision and you have a certain passion, but sometimes you got to be the Trojan horse, right? And play the game a little bit and then get to do what you want.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what the answer is.
Yeah. I think I know it has come up in our conversations before, both on air and off. I think it's so important to ask, do I actually want this, or am I just chasing something shiny? Because you get exhausted. You need money. The general you here, exhausted, you need money, and you see somebody else just doing something that's working, and you're just like, oh, do I want that? But then you look at it and go like, yeah, but we all want success, but do we want to get it in that way? Or even though it's success, like the actual thing that people are getting, do you want that? If, like I feel with the views on TikTok, I know for some people it makes them, money and success. But I think a lot of people have a bonkers number of views that doesn't translate to money or followers on other social media or any sort of industry deals. So I always think it's just really, really important to ask yourself what you want, which is another thing that's so great about this triangle, because it's saying, here are the three things I need, and so now I know I'm making conscious decisions. But that's one of the other things I talk to people about with the Fringe Festival is like, what do you want? Do you want to do the show that you truly believe in? And maybe it will become a hit, but it might be 15 people per show and it'll be kind of a bummer on the audience side, but it's utterly fulfilling to you. You can make that choice. But if your goal is to have the theater full every time, think about something truthful and honest that you think will be more popular. Like, I think being cognizant of what am I valuing it at this moment? What is success to me in this project, this specific project? What am I shooting for? What is success with this one is really important.
Yeah. And no, that's well said. And just reevaluating that triangle too, about what your passions might have been. There might have been a spot where talk about movie news every week was what I wanted to do. Right. And that changed, and I had to acknowledge it and not fight it. And it can get scary. There's some, focuses and passions changing for me now, even in my life. And one of my biggest mistakes I've joked about before, but I launched that baseball podcast network about 2 years ago. Some of Brian Ward's best art he's ever done for any show. Love it. And I got 4 episodes in, was like this. I did this because I thought it could make me money. I didn't really truly evaluate my time and my relationship to baseball right now. And this was a failure, and I had to be okay with that. And it maybe I still own the art. It might come back one day, but that was a moment where I was like, I think I chased what I saw other people had.
Yeah, no. Jennifer, do you feel like you have had a moment where you started something and then realized this isn't actually what I want?
Yes. I think over the years making content, it really is very difficult, because there's going to be times where your videos hit and times when they don't, where you hear crickets. You might have spent a long time on the video, and you have to be able to weather that and keep going and keep trying. And what would happen was I would take that as indicative of, oh, I don't know what I'm doing, or this is so frustrating, and nobody even cares, and just taking it really personally. And as we all know, like when you're on social media, like you're just scrolling and maybe you don't have time for it. You like it, you wish it well, but you'll come back to it another time. Right. So it's just, you have to be really self-driven. And that's been my challenge with online content, is to have that consistency, because that's what we're all looking for. That's why my favorite creators, they are consistently posting, and I may not see every one of their videos, every one of their posts, but I feel like I have that parasocial relationship with them. Right. And I think that those people generally started off doing whatever they wanted to do passionately. They were passionate about their thing, and then they found a community. They cultivated a community and found their audience from doing their passion. So it is possible.
Yeah. No, that's great. I think for myself, final thought on this is, I want to put this in some creative thing sometime. But I have this idea of, my I existed box of if I had a curated literal physical box that I could put, art of any kind, in it.
Mm-hmm.
What out of what I've done do I want to point at is this is the mark I made, and that, at least for some of the kind of creative things that I want to do, sometimes helps me find true north on what I want to do. And in particular, I think I love comedy, and I love comedy for entertainment's sake. I think it has true value to just stand in front of somebody or write something and it doesn't have any great meaning. It's not going to change the world, but it's funny and it makes people laugh.
Mm-hmm.
But for a while I was finding a little bit more success doing, kind of stand-up stuff that relied a lot on pop culture. And I leaned into it a little bit because it was going well. And I liked making jokes about Doctor Who and Star Wars and all that. But I didn't want to put it in my I existed box because it felt really temporary. It felt really of the moment of this joke about the 11th Doctor is going to be kind of done in 2 years when he's not the 11th Doctor anymore. It felt so temporary to me that it wasn't, compared to other things that I've written or done, I didn't want to put it in my I existed box. Ken, does that make any sense to you? Does that translate to the way you think about things at all?
Yeah, a little bit of just, of what is me. Yeah, sometimes I go to what is me at the time. What is my I exist box at the time? Changes. And then, as long as you don't hide what's really there. I had a great conversation with our pal, Joe Starr, who was talking about it early when he moved to LA and started doing stand-up. Joe was, always will be a nerd through and through, but he hid it. He hid that part. That's different from what you're talking about. You're talking about what is the approach to comedy. But he was on a Jackie Cation's podcast, and he talked about how he was asked a question about Transformers, and he knew the answer, and he pretended not to. And it went away. I went, well, that's not who I am. What did I do that? Versus, hey, yeah, you're right. Maybe I have a very specific set of references in some old stand-up sets that definitely don't last. So, I'm there with you on that approach. Find balance.
And I still have, comedy albums that I'm proud of that I would like people to buy on Bandcamp. I'm not disparaging the art. I think it's just, I was getting to the Food in My Beard's question about, balancing what you truly want, popular versus passion. And I think when I look at that the art that I love, almost all the art I love has some timeless quality. All art is of its day. Look at Luke's hair. But there's some things that sort of resonate and aren't just responsive to the moment. And I think that's powerful to me too, because that's something that's also going on in all of this social media stuff, in the TikTok of so much of it is responsive entirely to the moment, which I think has value, but it doesn't have permanence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Check my short tomorrow, my YouTube short where I do the ice bucket challenge.
Right. And that's something that I wrestle with. Any final thoughts on this topic, Jennifer?
No, boy. But it is interesting when I look back on the things that I'm proudest of. They do have a lot of hits, views, whatever, but it's because I was so driven by an idea. And it just was something that other people connected with. And there's something that feels so good about being able to create something and have other people, whether, they're laugh or they are, well, yes, you make a great point. It's just, for me, it's about the human connection that I long for. And that's why I like to make art.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Ken, any final thoughts on this one?
I'm going to write down my triangle. I'm going to try to figure it out in a little bit more detail and try to keep my head up. That's where I'm at right now. I've been down and out, almost just bottom line depressed, as I tried some things I've been really passionate about, but I need those things to work or I don't get to do them anymore. And what's the balance? What's the sellout point? What's the triangle? So Dan, thanks for this thoughtful question. And again, folks, check out thefoodinmybeard.com for Dan's work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Dan. And if you want to follow up to your own question, very curious about how all this works in your industry and what kind of choices that you need to make to fulfill the vision of the triangle. Yeah. I think my final thought is I give a lot of thought to how can I consolidate the triangle?
Yeah.
So
Very true.
I'm doing as many things at once as possible. That is a great question. Thank you for all the support. Obviously, everybody listening and sending in questions. Obviously, ForceCenter and OtherCenter is something that I am really, really proud of. And I would put almost any episode in my I Existed box, even the ones where we get predictions wildly wrong about movies that are, 8 years old now.
Some we get close to being right.
Some we do. All right, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be back with 2 zippy little fun questions back in a moment. We are back with more Cues of the Other. We got 2 fun ones. This one comes to us from Maddie Gunner. Maddie says, if you could domesticate any animal and have it as a loving fur or feathered, scaled friend, what would you choose? I'll just jump on this one because it's, hey, I'd like to come up with something surprising, but it's squirrels. I absolutely do love squirrels. Without doubt or hesitation, I would love it if I had a little squirrel friend. I could build them a little house. They could live in my apartment. I could take care of their needs. But then they'd be kind of like my little friend, my little familiar, and they would just if I gave a call and they were up for it, they would scamper over and they'd ride my shoulder and I'd take a walk down Hollywood Boulevard. That would be great. And maybe give them a little collar with their name on it. Oh man, it'd be great. I would love a little squirrel friend. Ken, you do have little friends, little loving fur friends, dogs. What would you have as an animal companion if you could domesticate any animal?
There's 2 choices, and both probably equally as impossible. I love meerkats. It's the first stop at the LA Zoo. If you go to the LA Zoo, the meerkats. I love little furry creatures like that. I used to have some ferrets back in the day, and they're it's similar enough. But I don't know. The security system meerkats have it for their community. If one watches with the others relax, and just the little faces and paws, and they're like guarding the king in England. They're not. You can't push them off their mission. They're just sitting there. I can sit in front of them for the longest time when they're out there. And the last time I went by myself to do some riding at the zoo, and one of the meerkats just was on his back, legs just akimbo, just taking in the sun, leaning on the side of the hill while another one watched. And I was like, that's community right there. That's community. So I don't know if I could have a meerkat. The other one is otters. Also similar to ferrets in a lot of ways. And Grace and I will call them sea chihuahuas. I just obsessed with them. Love them. They're so smart. And again, another part of the zoo I go to, and Grace and I actually adopted one through their little zoo adoption support program. And I don't know which one. I don't go there and talk to Ollie the otter. I just love it, and especially when you get them and they're active. And one time we were at the zoo, just staring. We were at the part where you can kind of see them, and they were swimming up to the water in the window, and we're like, oh, they're cute. And then the zookeeper came and dumped a bunch of murdered fish and watched these otters just rip apart the fish. It was a different reality, but even that, yeah. So it's probably one of the reasons I couldn't domesticate them, but I would swim with the otters.
Yeah, that sounds like a great horror movie.
With the otters.
With the otters. I also like that the theme in your life of protection and security runs through with the meerkats. A community of security guards watching over one another.
The security director going, we should take notes. Yeah.
I'll take first watch.
Yeah.
How about you, Jennifer? What animal would you domesticate?
Wait, I want to know, Ken, you really had a ferret?
Past relationship. Yeah. I inherited 2 and then we got one together. Yeah. Two, I think in total 4. And yeah, California, I don't know the numbers now, but California, where they're illegal,
yes,
has the highest ferret ownership.
Really?
Yeah.
I wanted one. I used to get subscribed to, I think, Ferret Magazine. I wanted a ferret so badly, but they're difficult, right? Are they difficult
They're difficult. The smell for us wasn't a problem, so you can bathe ferrets. The ability to hide, and they get fixated, and they will still and hide like the same item no matter where you hide it, unless you make it actually impossible to do that. And then one of the ferrets didn't liked me, but would every day scratch the same part of my ankle, make it bleed. But outside of that, they're adorable. They are. They're spirited animals. I love them.
Reopen the same wound, like exes sometimes do. Yeah.
Oh no. Well, I see a theme. We all like cute creatures, and so in keeping with that theme, I would like a pygmy marmoset.
Oh, yeah.
They're known as the pocket monkey. They're about 5 to 6 inches tall, but they do have a long tail. They live in the rainforest in South America. And I could stick it in my pocket, have it on my shoulder, like you're saying, Joseph, with your squirrel little collar. But here's where things get interesting. I really started thinking about this. I was like, what if the animal is not only domesticated, but also can talk? Then we open up a whole other can of worms, so to speak. I would choose an oxalotl who could talk to me, or even a praying mantis, which could kind of be like my Jiminy Cricket and put it on my shoulder, because they seem so smart.
Yeah.
Or a squirrel monkey. I just feel like any talking animal, I would I'd take any of them.
I Googled the pocket monkey. That is adorable.
Right?
That is adorable. Yeah, just clinging to the fingers. You could have one on each finger. My Lord.
Wait,
exactly.
Oh gosh, you're taking me back. Pocket monkey. Okay, sorry, I'm gonna look this up because we had a coworker. This is years ago, back when I was a regular security guard, and at one point we made a joke. I think he was trying to explain what these were, and he called them a thumb monkey. And that became his nickname, where even if his name was John, if I saw, it is, oh dear God, it is. And if I saw him today, I would be like, thumb monkey, what's up? Like that was his nickname, whether he wanted it or not, because he was trying to explain these
my God,
these pocket monkeys. That's amazing. God, you just took me back then. That's amazing.
There is a book on Amazon called Finger Monkey. Finger Monkey Guide for Novice, the complete guide on caring, feeding, housing, breeding, and training finger monkeys as pets.
What?
1-star review.
What?
1 star.
Did not do good.
They should not be pets. That's part of the problem.
I think that's probably why it has 1 star of don't.
I can't show. I'm sure Grace knows these exist, but if she sees this, we might own 3 by Friday.
Hey, you got more than 3 fingers, so you can fill them up. Fill them up. Yeah. I do sometimes. My other option for not a small character is I get to walk into Griffith Park, about 20-minute walk from my apartment, and there's a picnic bench I sit at sometimes, and Sarah will kindly take a photo of me, and I make the joke of that none of the bears came to my picnic. So it would be. I would love it if there was a bear friend that lived in Griffith Park, and I could just go and hang out and fist bump the bear, have a picnic, whatever, chat,
ride on its back.
Yep. See how its day is going. Any funny food it found in the trash. That kind of thing.
What jug band are you a part of?
Maybe the bear would have a finger monkey. Who knows?
Right.
All right. That is our strange menagerie. Thank you, Maddie, for that question. And we've been talking all week about the shattered reality of current social media, bumming us out. And here we have a question that's going to bring us back to not even the glory days. I'm going to make an argument for the glory day, the pinnacle of social media. Will Culbertson asks, when you first saw it, was the dress blue and black or white and gold? Jennifer, I'd love both your what colors you read the dresses and any memories or strong feelings you have about what color is the dress day.
It was shocking. It was a day I fondly remember because to me, I saw that photo and I'm like, it's white and gold. How could anybody? I looked at that photo and I'm like, how could anybody see black and blue? I thought it was a joke. And scientists have since studied this phenomenon and why some people actually see blue and black versus white and gold. One study reported that individuals who saw the dress as white and gold showed increased activity in the frontal regions of the brain. These areas are thought to be critical in higher cognition activities such as top-down modulation and visual perception. So I'm happy that I am in the white and gold company because I don't. Did you guys see black and blue?
I'm a big Dumby who saw blue and black. Yep.
I'm sorry.
I'm in the fog of ignorance because I was blue and black, and why are we having this conversation?
My very low activity frontal cortex was just like blue and black.
I was confirmation bias. I saw that on Wikipedia and I was like, I will take that. Yes, that is accurate. That is accurate.
If no doubt. Do you, Ken, do you remember that this was also the escaped llama day? It was like escaped llama in the morning here in Southern California, and then the dress blew up in the afternoon. That's part of it. It wasn't just the glory of the dress. It was also escape llama day.
Escape llama.
Wait, yeah, I do remember that because it was. I'm also. What do you know? What year that was? I
think 2015.
2015.
But I have a low activity frontal cortex, so I better look it up.
I'm sorry.
I've learned a lot about what Jennifer thinks about it. Okay.
But I think it wasn't also like dependent upon your computer as well. I saw some reports of that.
I mean, I'm looking at it now, and I'm like, this is blue and black. This is
what
2015. Yeah. Wow, I thought it was
February 26th, 2015.
Okay,
I'm gonna look this up again. How could you see blue and black?
That's great.
It's not. It wasn't even close to me, too. It wasn't like you'll get those like this. Is this a silhouette of a man's face? There's actually a picture of the full body of a lady, and they're like, oh, if I look at it this way, I can see both. I was like, I sat there and tried. Like, I can't. Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. Nothing's gonna make me see white and gold.
I thought it was like 2010. 2015 is crazy. Yeah. I was a security director and sitting in the office, and I remember just this exploding all day.
Yeah,
I just couldn't
in line to go to a museum with Sarah and her parents, and it's just like, I don't want to be rude, but this is the best day on social media ever.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, this is hilarious. I want a larger story. Yeah, and the dress was actually black and blue, right? That was the review.
It was.
So Jen, take all your highfalutin intelligence and your frontal lobes. Tell me what to do with this dress now.
But here's the thing that's weird is that like I think people are also showing what it looks like if you adjust the whatever, and it looks very much blue and black in certain lights here.
It's all the day of that infamous Game of Thrones Battle of Winterfell where everyone's like complaining it was too dark. I had not one problem with it because my TV by dumb luck was on the right settings. Everything.
Yeah. So it's so much of this is the settings and who I don't know the full history of if it was truly look different on different screens or whatever, but to wrap up here, like obviously don't want to be too dark about the current state of social media. It deserves darkness. I just don't want to dwell on it. Do you think that this is a value of social media, Jennifer, something that is on the surface just kind of really ridiculous, inconsequential, playful, but then if you want to dive into it, there's plenty to read about of perception and screen things of like just this surface level fun that maybe even opens the door to education. Is this a vital part of social media that we're missing?
Yeah, because I think what it reminded me of is like the monoculture, I think they call it. So like we kind of had that with Game of Thrones where it was this water cooler moment where every week we would talk about it after it would air. You'd rush to Twitter online and maybe see the hot takes or whatever, right? Obviously back in the day with Seinfeld and all these other shows. And so, and even in early days of social media, there would be these things that would go viral, like the cat playing the piano. And like we're talking about the blue and black dress. And so it was a moment that united all these people together. And now I don't feel like we could even have that. Everything feels so niche, and what I'm seeing on TikTok is not what is going to be in your TikTok algorithm. And Twitter is X. It just seems like a dumpster fire. So yeah, I feel like that was kind of the last moment that I can think of where we were all united.
How do you feel, Ken? Do you miss these sorts of events?
In a way, too. Yeah, I didn't overly compete in these ones. I should say compete like it was a game, but I do miss that. I miss the TV show thing a little bit, and we certainly have it, but it's fractured, right? So yeah, if you're watching Space Story TV show at midnight or 6 whenever it's released, you have a little bit of it. It's just become an absolute dumpster fire. It's where a lot of my frustrations lie in some of these fandoms and communities, where it's just like you're robbing the joy from me versus us coming together and not just loving the thing, but just getting the chance to celebrate it or be in it. You know what I mean? I don't mind the debate of it. But yeah, it's forever changed, and some of it's good, right? But look, it's actually interesting to me that this is late in the game, so to speak. 2015, there had already been some real serious things that had kind of played out online, including some protests against police brutality in 2014 and stuff, the stuff in Missouri and everything that kind of exploded out. And so we're past a lot of the bigger things. But it still seems like an innocent time. I don't know if we can go back to, but it'd be fun every once in a while, I think.
Yeah. I think for me, I think these kind of things are really fun where it is, I don't think anybody, well, I'm sure people have gotten into flame wars with that, but it felt fun and frivolous, and we're really just joking around with one another, and it is massive water cooler, or like I haven't deep dived on the llamas, but I think everybody ended up okay, and that was just like a bonkers thing that happened, and because we were all connected, we got to see it and experience it together. And I think that is, for me, I'm missing those kind of events, and I think they aren't happening as much because social media is so fractured into different pockets, and with the collapse of the site formerly known as Twitter, it's just people are spread out everywhere, just literally. So I think without having a more centralized social media, it is harder for a beautiful llama dress day to happen.
Yeah, beautiful llama dress day.
My kingdom for a llama dress day on social media.
That's great.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is our Cues of the Other. We talked some serious stuff. We talked some fun stuff and some crossover of both. Ken, where can people find us, and how can you read it dramatically so people keep listening?
On X, formerly known as Twitter. You can follow us at ForceCenter Pod. We are on Threads as well. We're on Instagram. Facebook page is ForceCenter Podcast. Our podcast is available on Acast, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast, and more. Merch is available at tpublic.com/user/ForceCenter. And you can support us directly, like so many that do, and we're thankful, at patreon.com/ForceCenter. You can follow me at Ken Napzok, or go to kennapzok.com to link to other things I do, including at the time of this episode, and this will be a Thursday, so Friday, November 3rd, the first single from the band The Moonagers that I'm a part of, called Tell Me, a song I co-wrote with Brian Tiller and Sean Arnold, will be released everywhere, but love to have you check it out on Bandcamp at themoonagers.bandcamp.com. There you go. That's part of my triangle. Passion, making money, maybe, artistic integrity. It's all there.
It's a great triangle. I think possibly some triangle points converging, which is beautiful. Jennifer, how about you? Where can people find you? What are you up to?
You can find me trying to fix my triangle. That sounds bad. Sounds bad. Anyways, you can see. Find me.
Spicy tamale we got here.
Spicy tamale. Yes, see me not being sexy on TikTok at Jennifer Landa 1138 and YouTube and Instagram at Jennifer Landa for lots of weird retro things.
Love it.
That is great. I'm not going to be sexy in Mobile, Alabama at the H.P. Lovecraft Film Festival. If you're listening, the day we release this, I'm probably in the air flying to Mobile, Alabama, November 3rd through the 5th. The short film I worked on, The Nightmare Adorable, is playing as a part of the H.P. Lovecraft Film Festival. If you're in the area, come and check it out. All the information on when the film is showing is on my website at josephscrimshaw.com. That is it. We have answered the cues of the other.
ForceCenter.